Welcome back to another episode of Psycosmos. Today, we're going to be discussing a lot of things dealing with psychology. And the reason why is because, first and foremost, I want to say thank you so much to all of the new followers. Thank you for all the new subscribers. Thank you for all the people who've reached out and who are interested in working with me. I am making this video very humbly and very kindly because I really need to address a lot of things that I'm seeing as being a bit problematic. And first and foremost, I'm not here to insult anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But this definitely is a video that I've made this video multiple times. I'm going to say this. I'm going to reiterate it. I hope that a lot of you watching here, I hope that this doesn't really apply to you. But if it does, hey, just understand I am making this video for your own benefit. I've had a lot of people reach out to me over the last 2 weeks. My videos have been kind of blowing up, and a lot of that is thanks to you guys. Thank you for preserving this wonderful information. Thank you for sharing a lot of the data and the details that I have. I think it's going to really go a long way in this entire new age mysticism, spirituality kind of movement that is being peddled as, accurate or scientific or whatever. But there's a lot of caveats here. First and foremost, and I'm saying this very kindly, okay, I'm not speaking, or at least I'm trying not to speak from ego, all right? If you want to reach out to me to work with me, I charge money, okay? It's really cool that a lot of you guys have your own spiritual teachings and your own methodologies. But when people are reaching out to me saying, I'm the chosen one, and you're going to teach me things, and I'm trying to ascend to 12D consciousness and a bunch of other stuff in that regard, but then they tell me they're dead broke and they want to do exchanges and they want to send me their information and blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying this to pick on people. What I study and what I bring to the table and how far deep down the rabbit hole I've gotten, I think that a lot of people check, the 3-minute videos I make on my social media, and a lot of those people never actually are watching my long form content, because if they did, they would kind of know that first and foremost, I'm just going to be real. None of the stuff that you guys are sending me is mind blowing or crazy or even expansiatory upon everything that I've been studying and building. That doesn't mean that I know everything. That's not what I'm saying at all. In fact, I think I'm kind of stupid. My whole philosophy is I have a really great memory and I'm exceedingly well at pattern recognition. But if you were to ask me if I think I'm smart, I'm going to say maybe above average, but that's about as far as I would go with that. I really don't hail over intelligence as like this big thing. I actually think emotional intelligence goes a lot more in life, and I think it's much better to play into emotional intelligence than just IQ. But with that being said, a lot of this stuff, I'm getting so many messages, guys, from people who, like, first of all, they're not doing this. They're not doing what I do. They don't go out, promote their ideas, promote their thoughts. They don't share this immaculate wisdom. And I'm getting these really strange messages, guys. Really strange. So today we're going to talk about the ego, and we're going to actually get into the extreme depths of this. And it's because I'm sick of the 12D. I'm sick of the I'm part of a secret society kind of thing. I'm sick of the I have this higher pathway of information. I'm sick of this I'm the chosen one mentality. We're all the chosen one, okay? Even in my most spiritually psychotic state, which we all have to go through at some point when you're on the spiritual journey, and I'm going to get into the psychology today of why that is. Even at that highest peak, I did not think so highly of myself to think that I was the reincarnation of Christ. And unfortunately, most of you guys watching, you're probably like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, this is insane. Like, I hope he's not talking about me. I just was leaving nice comments. I'm not talking about you. The people who know what I'm talking about. And in fact, a lot of you people in the spiritual community probably have experienced this. You've probably seen these people coming out of the woodwork and they'll do mushrooms a few times, or they do a year's worth of meditation, and then all of a sudden it's, listen, I'm the chosen one, okay? Like, my friend that I've been talking to about deep spiritual stuff for like 7 years, yeah, they said that I'm the chosen one too. They knew that I was the chosen one. They knew that I was this immaculate being, and I'm here to save the world. But then you reach out to me, and I mean, the derogatory attitude where people are like, oh, well, money's tight right now, but I am the chosen one and I can't really prove it. But hey, maybe we could swap services because you seem to have like a lot of really good information, and I kind of need that to fulfill my mission of being the chosen one. So just give me your services for free. All right, look, I charge for my coaching program. If you want to work with me, you're going to pay. That's how it works. I run a business. I do this as a means of living. Okay, this is my day job. Studying, putting things to practice, helping clients, all right, making content. This is my day job. And I'm saying this respectfully and kindly because it's like this extremely immature attitude that I'm getting. And most of it is from people who are like younger than 40. So you're making us look bad. Okay. I'm just going to say it through and through. You're making young people look bad. And if you're older than 40 and you have this weird philosophy about being the chosen one, hey, guess what? You're on my channel watching my stuff. Okay. So if you're the chosen one, go out. I'm not even going to say that you're not, but go out there and fucking prove it. Like, go out there, take your amazing, wonderful knowledge and go prove it. 9 times out of 10, and I've gone through the ringer with this. Scam artists, con artists, people who know how to sell, and they come to me and they fluff me up and they say the exact same things, and I'm used to it by now and I'm over it. Okay, I love to help people. Don't take advantage of that. I'm not doing freebies. I'm not giving you free sessions. I don't care if it's your birthday. I don't care if you think I'm getting paid by somebody else. I don't get paid by anyone else except for my clientele. All right. So with that being said, I need to establish this and put lay the law down. All right. You're not the chosen one. We're all the chosen ones. If you decide to follow your spiritual journey and tap into that mission, you're choosing to be on the same frequency of the chosen one. But if you're watching my videos, copying what I'm saying, because a lot of the other people are like way too woo-woo fanatical, frugivores, I'm inventing a new religion, and flat earth and aliens. This is unpractical, impractical, okay? This is not helpful. All right, I wouldn't have a job if this stuff was helpful because everybody would just be able to do it, and then, et cetera, et cetera. So today we're going to talk about psychology. With that out of the way, sorry if you had to sit here and listen to that. I know it probably was a little nasty, but it has to be said. I mean, this is ridiculous. The amount of people, maybe even you're watching and you're like, oh, this guy just doesn't know. He just doesn't know I'm the chosen one. It's like, dude, look, I discovered a lot of this shit before COVID, and even I back then was like, man, like I must be some kind of like person that's here to make big change and like help, save the earth in some way. And to some degree, I still feel that, but it's a lot more grounded and it's a lot more practical now, where it's like, okay, well, we can actually break this stuff apart and we can take a look at it. Nobody coming at me with your 12D consciousness and your weird cults where it's really a bunch of fluff. We're going to get into the psychology of it today. Be a normal person, please. Please be a normal person. That's really what God wants. He just wants all of us to like live good lives. Okay? You're not gonna have some anime style fucking life where you're like fighting people flying through the air and levitating and having these powers. All right? Like, just get over yourself. Do I believe that that's maybe possible? Sure. Then do it and get it on camera and go like sell your services, okay? Until people start doing that, until people start like actually proving this stuff, at the end of the day, you've fallen into a trap. You've fallen into a psyop. Maybe I should have started this video a different way. Maybe I should have said, has this ever happened to you? Have you ever found some mystical knowledge that has a little bit of truth in it, but then you decide to stick with the program because that little bit of truth ends up being right, but then they manipulate the entire framework to make it so that you're just following some weird fucking nonsense? Maybe that's the way I should have started this video, but I digress. We're going to get into the psychology. Sorry for all of you who are waiting for the good stuff. But it has to be said, you guys probably have seen these people, heard these people. let's just get into it. Why does this happen? Okay. We've got multiple layers. You probably have seen this. This is a silly image. Okay, first of all, Freud is a fraud to most of the degree. And again, I've studied psychology very intensely. Freud is okay. He's lukewarm. I don't even care about Freud. But this is the map that you've probably seen: the id, the ego, the superego, and Jung uses it too. Well, Jung has a much deeper model. He has actually multiple models, but this is one of them. And we've got a multitude of layers here with the consciousness, the unconscious, the collective unconscious, the subconscious, all these things. Our mind is a beacon of energy. Okay, you pick things up, you throw things away, things get integrated into your energy. It's a very delicate system. Okay, and at the root of it is that egoic self, which is really tied to the shadow. And the shadow is not a bad thing. The shadow is there to protect you. It's there to help you. And in an era where so many people feel hurt and have had abusive parents and society is kind of bullshit, we make stuff up in our head because it helps protect our self-image. It helps us protect ourselves. It helps us make us feel as though we really are special and there really is something deeper to me. And there really, I really do have this divine mission that I'm supposed to be on. And I really have channeled interdimensional deities. And I really have, I really am the reincarnation of XYZ. It's like, no, your name's Johnny. You live in Montana. You're 34 years old. You sometimes play basketball, you collect Pokemon cards, and you go to your day job as a construction worker, okay? And you just started taking up meditation and plant medicines right around COVID, okay? So, let's remove this divine self-image. I'm not picking on anybody in particular. I made that whole person up. That's not somebody that I'm actually calling out. But let's remove this whole grandiose, overinflated image of yourself. If you were the chosen one, if you were all this other stuff, again, go prove it. All right, that's what I discovered for myself. If I was going to sit here and I was going to have all this stuff and read all this stuff and research all this material, then I was like, well, I got to go out and share it with the world. I got to go do my part. So shut the fuck up and go do it. Go do the work. That's what it's about. Because otherwise, all you're doing is playing into the shadow. All you're doing is allowing yourself to talk yourself up into this grandiose image of yourself. And here's the reality. We all do it. It's okay. It's not a bad thing. But what you're doing is you're feeding this negative energy that is within you to perpetuate a false story. You're setting yourself up for failure because when you can't get crucified and when you can't, I knew a guy, you know what? I will actually call out one guy. And the reason why I'll call him out is because I don't like him. He was a grand wizard with Kabbalah. I've actually done podcasts on my channel with him, but I put those videos away because he was so negative, he did horrible things to his family, and he was really smart. Okay, I'm not going to say he wasn't smart. He had this idea where when he was going to turn 33, he was going to die like Jesus because he was the return of Christ. All right. The dude was broke, collecting fake Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, sitting in a little office for himself, a little Project 8 housing with 10 other people living in the house. Okay. His wife was miserable. All right. And I mean, it was really obvious. And the guy was just making art doodles all day. He's still doing it. And I think he's 34 now, so I don't really think he's dying anytime soon. And unfortunately for him, life is a big learning journey. I hope that he kind of fixes that aspect of himself. But it's a form of spiritual psychosis, okay? It's a form of spiritual psychosis when you start to open up neural pathways. All right, you start to have more energy flood into the body because the nervous system is activated, and biases take over, ego takes over, and the shadow takes over because the shadow now is being granted permission to protect this information. It's being granted permission to protect and preserve. And who's the one who found it? Who's the one who discovered it or put all the pieces together? It was the individual. So they associate themselves with the data. Okay, they associate themselves, which by the way, guys, it's like nothing, there's nothing new under the sun. All right. A lot of the models that I propose are my own theoretical models, which are just a combination of other people's stuff. I would have never known about a half of this stuff, or even more than half of this stuff, if it wasn't for the works of so many other people before me. And just because I might be good with pattern recognition, you got to just own your skill and then use it to help other people. You don't own your skill and then hide on social media and not show your face and just try to make money. Like that's what a lot of these people are doing, and it's wrong. And we've got to take a look at this as to why that is. And anyway, so Jung and Freud and Adler and all these other psychologists, they've had all these models, right, about how like things operate or whatever. So the only reason I was showing a lot of these is because these are the things that people like know. But now I want to get into deeper models of complexity. Okay, this is just one variant of a deeper model of complexity that has to do with psychology. So as we go down the rabbit hole here, this is much more of a modern model of some guy. I don't even really know who he is, but it's just something that popped up on Google. And as you get more complex with these images, you start to, how do you say, your identity starts to shift based off of what you're witnessing. Okay, based off of what you're trying to download and take in. So I've got some notes here. What happens in a lot of these is, okay, the ego, the shadow, right, is really tucked away. The ego of how we pursue having conversations and relationships with other people would often be attributed to the persona. And like the video game Persona, you wear masks, all right? It's like you wear masks and you interact with other people depending on what mask you're wearing. You don't treat your mom the same way you treat your best friend. You're wearing a mask. And maybe you feel like you're really being yourself, but this is, of course, in the beginning stages of being a human being. Then eventually, at some point, everybody has to wear the mask. You have to learn how to wear the mask, but then the masks become part of you, and then you go through this entire journey of struggling to figure out what was the mask and what was the real you. Eventually, you'll uncover what was the real you. And everybody has to go through this lesson. This is the hero's journey, so to speak, from a psychological standpoint, because what we're doing is we're integrating other archetypes and other parts of ourselves into our divine being. And our divine being is our soul, our light. Okay, so it's all about light. Light holds energy, it holds memory, it holds frequency. So your soul is all of those things. It's energy, it's frequency, and it's memory, all at the same time. And it's more things too. But for the sake of this, it's especially memory, right? So your soul can remember things and it can tap into things quantumly through emotion, through feeling, not really even through thinking. Through conscious activation, sure, but it's really emotions that are at the end of the day the driving force of this. So think about it like this. You've got all these people who you're just living life, all right? Most people are just living life. And eventually one day they have some kind of spiritual awakening, all right? And what that really means is that new neurons are forming in their brains. New neural pathways are forming in their bodies. Light is enhancing itself within the chariot of that person's individual body. All right, this is the entire more physical related aspect to Carl Jung's individuation, which of course is the seeking and the searching of the core root. Which means that it's the core root of who you are, which means you have to go deep into your subconscious, deep down into like those deeper layers of yourself to understand yourself to a deeper degree. Because if you do that, then you ultimately will be able to have authenticity in your frequency. You will be the very essence of the person that you're trying to be. This is something that I can say for sure I've gotten right pretty well. And I haven't always gotten it right. And you can even watch like my transformation over the years. You can see where my mentality is depending on how many death threats I'm getting at any given time, because I've gotten a lot of death threats doing this type of work. They don't want me doing this type of work. So I get death threats, right? I get people telling me to shut up and that I need to end myself and I don't know what I'm talking about and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, you guys keep coming back for more, which is great. And so we need to have more of that positivity. I'm sorry if this video started very negative. It's just, it worries me. And it doesn't upset me. I don't care that people are reaching out wanting freebies. They do this all the time. I get this all the time. That's not what upsets me. It's nothing about me. It's about you. It's like, Jesus, how many people have to tell me they're the chosen one? I've heard it like no shit. I've heard it from like 50 different people in my life, and a lot of them are nuts. A lot of them are absolutely insane. There's no way they can function regularly in normal human society, and it's because of this. It's because they're like way maxed out on this stuff. And here's another, more advanced novel idea, persona with the integration of the body. Then you have the ego, and the ego again is like that exterior face that we kind of wear towards other people. You have your soul, and I mean, this is very Kabbalistic. You can even see the Kabbalah in the background here, right? You can see that. So all these aspects, and there's your shadow right there between your soul and your ego. Your shadow really is what guards and protects your idea of yourself. Okay, so the shadow is the thing that delves into the subconscious. The shadow is the aspect of you that must protect you. And then you have anima, animus, which are kind of like more, I guess you could say, the divine masculine, divine feminine. And then the archetypal world, which really is in reference to the outside world, so that you can understand and learn more about experiences to go back inward and then fix what's going on inward. That's really the only purpose for the outside world. I mean, the outside world is the conscious projection of everything that we're doing, but the inner world is really the most important because that's where God really resides. God is all throughout. He's everything, right? God is no different from me than it is like, a cat or a dog or a book or whatever. Like everything that is made has God's energy, but the true essence of God is within, right? Like you have the book. A book is a great example. Why? It's not a living thing, right? But it's made of the same energy as you. And on the outside of the book is the cover, but then the inside of the book is what actually has the real knowledge and the real wisdom. So you are like that. You just have a cover, but when you get on to the inside, you actually have to do the work of reading every single page, and every single page looks the exact same. Maybe there's pictures, but every single page is the exact same. White page with black lettering. And you're just sitting there flipping and reading through, whatever. You look at the cover and you're like, oh, that's a nice cover. This book is probably really good. I'm really excited to read what this book is about. But then you get into the book and it's literally just the exact same thing on every single page. Words on a white page. And you have to delve through. It takes you way longer to get through the whole book than it does the cover of the book or the about section of the book or something like that. That's kind of the similarity between the outside versus the inside. Okay, it takes a lot longer to delve into that inner world. And if your subconscious is already reprogrammed to tell yourself things like, listen, man, you're the chosen one. You're the chosen one. You have to be, because mom and dad didn't love you, and your uncle did that horrible thing to you, and you were bullied in school, and your big sister, when you were growing up, used to lock you in the closet and beat the shit out of you and told you were worthless, you should end your life. So you have to be the chosen one because you went through all this horrible suffering and you've got all this great information. Meanwhile, what's your great information? What is it? Kabbalah, astrology. It's like these are very common things that are becoming more popular every single day. If you're falling into this category, all right, I would like for you, especially if you're falling into the category of, I have this system that somebody gave me, or I have this system I started to pay into these courses, and I'm saying everybody's doing this these days, and it's because the rabbit hole ends with, oh, well, we can't give you the direct answers because they were all channeled. Alice Bailey was really like the person who started this. So if you're really big into theosophy, if you're a girl, all right, if you're a woman, don't fall into the, I love the Reiki and the energy healing and all that stuff. I'm not saying Reiki's bad. In fact, I've had Reiki done on me by people I trust, and it's really nice. But don't fall into the, oh, well, just because Reiki's real, that means we have to follow all this other stuff like the 12th dimensions and all these different planes. You're not doing your research as to where this shit started. It's essentially like demonic work, okay? It's essentially, oh, these people would sit in a room and they would channel divine messages from extraterrestrial, interdimensional beings. That's how this all ends, guys. So in other words, to anybody else, it would sound like bullshit. I'm not going to say it's fully bullshit. What I'm going to say is, people discover this spiritual information. They start, going down the rabbit hole of Kabbalah, tarot, astrology, all these different things. And then they start to meditate, and their imaginations, because they are now understanding more complex operations, whatever has been seeded there, they don't, everybody jumps the gun. Everybody's like, oh, well, if I found this information, then I must be the special one. It's like, no, you found this information so you can fix yourself, and then you can go help yourself and realize it has nothing to do with you. That's actually why you found this information. Because if you found this information, it's not about you at all. Okay? That's the real truth. If you've discovered spiritual essence, it has nothing to fucking do with you. You are honestly, you are just here to serve the divine creator and push the proper grounded spiritual route. And if we kept going around this line of we've got to get into the 12 dimensional plane of existence because the 8th dimension has aliens that are reptilians that want to eat our faces off and harvest our energy, and oh yeah, by the way, where did all this come from? I channeled it from a divine archangel named Zebubbabdil, and Zebubbabdil told me that there is this grand place in the sky called Atlantis 2, and it's this floating mothership turtle, and it's got this beautiful fountain, and all the children frolic and play, and everybody can fly, and nobody dies, and everybody's rich and handsome and attractive and beautiful. And the only way to get to Atlantis 2 is to follow all of the things that Zebubbabdil teaches us. And then they'll bring in all this other stuff that people don't know, like Kabbalah, astrology, tarot, inner alchemical practices, right? And that's where they get you. That's where they fucking get you, is the inner alchemy. Because once you start activating the neural pathways, you start to feel good. It creates chemical responses. You're basically getting high on your own supply. So of course it's going to feel good. And then that's where the spiritual psychosis develops, is in that moment where you're being taught how to get high on your own supply. You're like, wow, life is actually really great. And instead of applying yourself to go work harder, to go make more money, start a family, do the things that will actually, statistically lead to higher chances of happiness. Doesn't mean you have to do those things. We're just saying, instead of doing what I would call the normal stuff, all right, of being a human being, like marriage and kids and finding work that you can do that you enjoy, ikigai, that property of doing things that the world needs that you can get paid for, that you love doing, and that something you're good at. And when you can combine all those properties, you get this beautiful thing. And instead, people are like, no, I'm trapped. I got to work this shitty day job, and I'm just gonna manifest by connecting to my 12th dimensional archangel. It's like, it's all in your head, guys. And that doesn't necessarily even mean it's not real, but it's all in your head, okay? I've had really wacky experiences too. I've astral projected. I've done the most crazy psychedelics on the face of the planet. I have sat in the gardens, with spiritual gurus and teachers, and have met all the great wise ones of the old ancient ages. And you could get into all these things, but at the end of the day, I can't share those experiences with other people unless I'm actually doing the work. So none of that really matters. It's my own experiences. I don't have to go and scream from the rooftops about, this or this or that. And never, not a single point in my life, okay, have I ever thought that I was the chosen one. All right, because the chosen one wouldn't think that he's the chosen one. The chosen one wouldn't, anyway, the chosen one wouldn't sit there and be like, man, I'm awesome. I'm the chosen one. Now I'm just going to scroll on TikTok, and I'm going to message people on Instagram to give me more information about myself. Really bothersome, honestly, that this is becoming a thing, because you guys are going to be the first ones. You chosen ones are going to be the first ones that fall for the psyops. Every time. Every time. I get the messages, I get the people sending me the videos and stuff. This is like a much more detailed psychological map of the human mind. All right, this is what I would say is much more of a detailed psychological map of the human mind. I think it's in Latin, so a lot of this is like broken down into separating parts here. But essentially, this is so multifaceted. That's the point, right? And if you're in the realm of following something just because you're learning a little bit about it, that's called epistemic dependency. All right. It's a complex concept that involves the interdependence of beliefs and the reliance on other beliefs for justification. So, in other words, if I teach you how to awaken your Kundalini, okay, and you feel it and you get that sensation, which is, by the way, not hard to do. Sorry, I hate to break it to you, but Kundalini itself is not the entire map of the inner alchemical process. That's the conscious activation part, which is potentially maybe one of the more difficult parts, but in the grand retrospect, it's not hard. You want to know why? If you ever listened to a song, or if you ever cuddled with a loved one, or if you've ever had like a really good time at an event, and you felt that energy in the body, you felt like the shock waves going up and down the spine. Guess what? That's Kundalini activation. And everybody does it at some point, because we all need those experiences that help change and shape our DNA. So when you're sitting there and you're having those types of experiences that are changing and shaping your DNA, then you're essentially doing the Kundalini. So epistemic dependency is where you have a little bit of truth. This is what psyops are all built on. You have a little bit of truth, and then they bombard you with all this stuff. Look at all my 12-dimensional. Here, I got you. Ready? Watch this. Look at my 12-dimensional plane of existence. Look how real this is. Look, it looks so well formulated, and it's got a lot of stuff. And look, I'm not going to sit here and say it's wrong. Because who would I be to say that? What I will tell you is, how is a normal person, who's in that third dimension, which we all are, how are they supposed to feel about this? It's a selling point. It's a selling tactic. It's sales. All right? These people don't give this shit away for free. It's money. Okay? So what they're doing is they make you look at this and they say, look how great this is. Look, we've got like the little Taoist symbol. You're used to that. We've got a little flower here. You're used to that. You probably know chakras. You're used to that. Right? You know the golden ratio. If you're in the beginner stages of spirituality, you know all these things. So then somebody who's in those beginning stages looks at this and says, wow, this must be more advanced than what I know. I'm going to follow this pathway. And you know what happens? They'll pay every last dime they have to get to the 12th dimension. What does that even fucking mean? This is no different from what the churches have done. And the churches were the ones that perfected this beforehand. And now all these places created their own systems and copied it. Okay? It's a simple sales platform. You put something within people's hands that is completely out of reach. This is why I teach extremely practical alchemy. I teach extremely practical aspects of all these things. How do we apply this psychologically? All right. And yeah, here I am. I'm also saying you got to pay me, but I make things affordable. All right. I'm not charging you thousands of dollars for, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. You know how much of a waste of money a lot of this stuff is? I when I did one of my, this was actually quite recently. This was like last June. I went to Peru and I did like a spiritual experience, we'll say. And even though it was great, and I really enjoyed going to Peru, and it was a lovely trip, I would have much rather had actually traveled Peru more and got to see more things in a safe way, rather than basically like sit in a garden feeling, jonesed all day. Because that's basically what it was. And it wasn't spiritual. It was just a drug addict retreat, honestly. That's what it felt like to me at the time. I went for the spiritual essence of it, didn't really get that. And look, it affects everybody in a different way. But then I tried talking to the shaman, and the shaman told me I needed to drink more of the Kool-Aid, basically. I needed to do more, right? It's bunk, guys. It's bunk. You don't need any of that crap. You don't need 12 dimensions. You don't need spiritual substances for experiences. You have it all built within you. This is the whole point of what I'm trying to get at today. And this is why I get frustrated, because other people will sit on their asses all day long and drink Jamba Juice in order to feel specific ways, thinking they're doing something, okay? In reality, They're just making excuses for wanting to sit and drink the Jamba Juice. They're not going and doing the work. They're not writing the papers, doing the research, sharing it, and building things for other people to experience and take part in. Okay, that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm not perfect at it. I'm only 31. So a lot of, what I do is limited. Okay, it's limited by money, it's limited by time, it's limited by a lot of things. But I try my best to do the best that I can, to make things affordable, to make things easy for other people. And I try to do it without ego. And I'm not even saying I'm right here in this conversation. What I'm telling you is the people who will sit here and talk all about this bullshit nonsense are the same people who will really like do nothing and rely on other people to do work for them. And that's what you're seeing with a lot of the big accounts that are on social media that talk about spirituality. The bigger the account, the more of a BS artist they are. You want to know why? Because it's just sales. It's just sales. It's just affiliate marketing. Look at the ratio of their followers to the likes. Look at all that stuff. Because like you can see that these accounts are fake and overinflated. And then what do? They promote bad beliefs. They promote false information, misinformation that hurts other people. And then I get stuck with having to clean up their mess, which has been my whole thing my whole life. I am the most gifted janitor in the whole world. That's how I feel. Because at least I don't mind being in the muck. At least I don't mind helping the people who society has cast away. All right, like I don't mind that. I don't mind washing the feet of the peasants or anything like that. As to use a symbolical thing here. And I definitely 100% do not think that I'm some reincarnation of Jesus. I do not think that I am some Buddhist figure. People call me things all they want all day. That's fine. But that's the why people respect me, is because I don't give a shit. None of that stuff matters. It's like I matter to me. That's it. And I matter to God. The universe put me here to do my mission. But I cannot allow myself, like if you're a responsible person, you can't allow yourself to believe in this nonsensical stuff. Okay? Like Joe Dispenza, I respect him greatly. But if you guys don't know, his whole rabbit hole ends with aliens. His whole rabbit hole ends with, and you're doing all this stuff and flexing your perineum and bringing the energy up and basically teaching inner alchemy so that you can talk with aliens on these interdimensional planes. This is all, guys, this is all psyop stuff. This is all psyop stuff. Project Bluebeam. This is all like, and again, that doesn't mean that it's not necessarily got some truth to it, which is the whole hook. It's epistemic dependency. We're going to teach you the basics, but then we're going to give you some BS, about how, way ancient in the past, hundreds of thousands of years ago, Jesus came down on a UFO. I'm dead serious. This is one of them. This is actually one of them. Jesus came hundreds of thousands of years ago, so you can't verify it. And he brought these tomes of wisdom, and he gave them to a root race of people. And then those people have guarded this ancient wisdom for hundreds of thousands of years, and they survived the floods, and they survived Atlantis, and they survived all this other stuff. And now here we are in the modern era, and they're underground, and they're controlling everything that we do. And some of them have turned evil, and now we must tap into that 12th dimension in order to fight them. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? You work at a Starbucks. Like, you work at a Denny's. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm not listening to that. I like, you need to be more practical here. And I'm not attacking people. And I'm not even trying to say that none of this stuff is right or wrong, because it's like not how I would know. I don't go too deeply into researching the history of this stuff. But guys, miss me with that, okay? Miss me with that shit. I'm not interested. I don't want to learn what you know. I'm very happy in my own life. I got a lot of my shit in order. The worst thing that I've done in my entire life was I spent thousands of dollars to try to promote this stuff to people. And I tried it in a ton of different ways. And finally, what worked is just being myself, which is what I'm doing right now. So I'm not trying to disrespect you, but like, you're probably going through some shit. So let's talk about what you're possibly going through. Again, when you go through dark trauma or deep experiences, your shadow is going to find ways to protect you. So if you're going down a spiritual journey, it's going to tell you you're amazing and you're great and you're the chosen one and blah, blah, blah. Which, yeah, you are amazing and you are great and you are a chosen one. A chosen one is not chosen. A chosen one chooses. That's the difference. If you don't know that, then you don't know what you're talking about. A chosen one is not chosen by the universe. It's when you choose the universe. It's when you choose to exist as the greatest version of yourself within reality. That's what a chosen one really is. It's not an outside force choosing you. It's you choosing to be the outside force from within. And you know what the real chosen one's going to want to do is help other people. So where is all this stuff coming from? The star seeds and the theosophical shit. Again, this is from darker practices. None of this predates the 1850s. You're not going to find any evidence for it because this was all created around a time where infiltrators in the Western world, Europe and America, wanted to essentially get out of the Christ model. But what's funny is so many of these now incorporate the Christ model. You can even see here Christ Buddha, the mental Christ Buddha. Okay? So what they're saying is there's stuff above Christ. You know, that's what they're trying to, and you know, oh, you got to get to the 3P, that you're in physical. You want to get to 3E. So for, you know, $2,000, I can teach you how to get into that fifth dimension. Then that's where you're going to be fighting aliens mentally. Well, anything is an imaginative game, right? That's what I keep trying to tell people. And you know what? Maybe this will age poorly and I'll be wrong. That's okay. I'm willing to eat crow on that. I'm willing to admit that I thought that this was too fanatical and too impractical for people. Does that mean that you can't pull good stuff from it? No. But you've got to read everything symbolically. That's how God experiences everything. It's through the metaphor, it's through the storytelling. We are the storytelling on the lower aspect of the unconscious of God's operating model. That's what we are. So we are the hero's journey playing out in physical form. Okay, so like whatever you're doing in the imaginative land of Atlantis 2 with Zabildadif or whatever the hell I called him, whatever his name was, I forgot already. But this is what they'll do, right? Like this is a real quote from one of these books that I pulled. If you're feeling the Maharata flame, that means that you're a 12th dimensional Christ bearer. And by the way, the Maharata flame is just your inner nervous system. So if you're feeling your nervous system, you're a 12th dimensional star seed from the Pleiades. And you're here on a divine mission. And what that mission is, I don't know, but you're definitely going to do it while you're working at the Starbucks, which is, you know, a giant, you know, corporate conglomerate. I just feel like this is stuff to mess with people, honestly. And then, of course, there's neurological factors. Most of this spiritual stuff, you're changing the way you live your life. Oh, now I'm going to try the fasting. Now I'm going to try more meditation. Now I'm going to try prayer. Now I'm going to try the yoga and the exercises. What you're doing, again, is you're changing the way that your body is. You're moving from one state into another state, which means it's a transition. Now, what do we know about transitions in human psychology? Let's take the first major transition, the biggest, I would say, major transition, not the first, but the biggest, earliest transition is from when you go from being a child to a teenager. There's other stages, obviously, right? But let's take child to teenager. Well, what do we know about that? Well, we know that if you do a simple thing like sit a kid in front of pornography and have them watch a little bit of porn every day, that severely damages their brain. Severely damages their ability for relationships and sexuality, right? And if you put kids in school, that severely changes the trajectory of which direction they're going to go, depending on the education that they get. Are they going to get the normal BS McGraw-Hill education, or are they going to get maybe a more advanced education, something that's actually more practical and pragmatic, you know, for the real world? Are they going to learn how to do taxes? Are they going to learn how to buy a home? If they're not going to learn those things, then, what are they learning? A lot of it is like nonsensical crap. So depending on what they're being fed, right? Energetically, linguistically, emotionally, everything in that transitionary period is a big deal. And that, of course, lasts for years, right? So now imagine you're a young adult or your mid 20s or your mid 30s or mid 40s. You've lived your life majority of a certain way. Now you're coming into not only some spiritual information that is really honest and truthful, teaching you things that you didn't know before, seeing the universe from a different way, but they couple that with a system that is impossible to replicate. How would you know you're on the 12th dimension? The only way you would know is if somebody who had already been there can tell you that you are reaching that pivotal point. That's how, when you get into these cults. That's the epistemic dependency. Oh, well, they were right about astrology and Kabbalah and all this other stuff, and Reiki and energy healing and vibration and the universe and the divine masculine and feminine. It's like, okay, great. They read a couple of books on Gnosticism, and Hermeticism. That doesn't automatically give them the right to tell you that you need to go fight aliens. A lot of these people are just making shit up, honestly. So when you're putting yourself through different physical states, you're in a transition. You're changing from one state to another. When you do that, okay, you're extremely susceptible because now you have new neural pathways that are open. So your neural pathways have to make connections in order for the evolution to stick. You want to get something out of it. So your brain and your shadow is going to protect you. And it's going to say, well, yeah, I mean, they were right about all this other stuff, so this must be real. Then you set yourself up for failure because you're going to pay money and you're going to spend time doing this thing and you're going to make yourself believe that you're doing this thing. Meanwhile, you're detracting from living in the human experience. The human experience is not about whatever this is. The human experience is about the human experience. That's why you're here. You have to learn new things. You have to grow. You have to evolve. You have to change. You have to be better. All right? If this can make you better, great. I will not knock it if it can really make people better. I just don't think it does. And I've had a lot of conversations, guys. I've gone to the road shows. I've set up booths and tents and talked with people one-on-one. I've gone to conferences, tons of different types of conferences, shaken a lot of hands, gave a lot of hugs, gave a lot of really good information, met with a lot of wonderful people. But I will tell you, so many people think that they are way more special than they are. We're all special. Once you find that there are actually other people who know as much as you, I think that makes a lot of people like this very angry. Because then they're like, well, no, my method is right and yours is wrong. I'm not here to tell you my methods are right. I'm here to tell you that this is what works for me and other people. That's it. I'm not here to tell you I'm going to give you the right way. I'm going to give you my way. If my way happens to be the right way, great. But I don't really think there is one right way. I think that we're all learning. This is a human experience. So it's kind of egoic. It's very egoic to sit there and assume that you know everything and that this is all, this is all made for you. So you're changing during a transitionary phase. You're going to be very susceptible. This is how they get you in cults. Because people go through some really traumatic stuff and that changes them by force and then they seek answers. But at the end of the day, guys, all the answers are going to be within yourself. And then, there's the social aspect to cults and groups too, like other people getting other people involved in them and stuff. But most of the time, these people are just like lone wolves, right? Again, it has to do with the fact that they are trying to protect themselves, either from themselves or from other people or society or whatever. But once you start getting into all these systems, they want to train you to do other things, and then it causes all these changes within you, and then you've got to stick with it. You got to stick with what works. It's more than likely an unintegrated Christic archetype. Like everybody at the end of the day, because of this sacred secretion, because of the inner alchemy, we're all saviors. We are all saving ourselves. So a lot of us want to go out and help and save other people, me, myself included. But it's unhealed if you're like, oh, I can do this because I've helped a couple of people or I've helped a lot of people in my life. It's not about that. It's about continuing doing the work, continuing expanding your repertoire of knowledge, continuing expanding what you know, what you don't know. And like, look, like you can even see here, like Astral Playground theme park, fall of the dark Astral Playground theme park, access via third eye realms of the traveling mind, starseed wanderers. You mean imagination? Like, this is all stuff that can be easily quantified if you really study it and you read it and you just think about it a little bit. Black hole portal. What the fuck are you talking about? This is honestly, this is just interdimensional Kabbalah. That's all this is. It's Kabbalahs stacked on top of each other, which is a very common model in Kabbalistic integrity. They do this all the time, and they study this all the time because everything is like a reflection of everything else. And again, how did they even discover that? The body. It all goes back to us because we are a species of severe narcissists, essentially, because we are created by a jealous, lower energetic entity, I guess you could say, demiurgical creator, if you want to think of it that way. But it's not really. It's just a hierarchy. It's still God at the end of the day. It's just a hierarchy. And you have a place in that hierarchy. And if you want to go shoot your soul out into the 12th dimension, well, you got to die. Like, if you want to go out into heaven, you're going to have to die. And the Hindus have a lot of these types of cosmologies as well. Actually, I would say between the Hebrews and the Hindus, those are probably the two major groups that have assisted in facilitating this, but I think this is just like taken way out of context. I'm not even going to say that the energetic spectrum of consciousness wouldn't even allow this. I'm not going to say that, and that there could be all these different things. But like, who the fuck is sitting here deciding what these things are? Like, who's the one guy? Come on, who's the one guy or girl who's sitting in a room like, I'm channeling, Bashar, and Bashar is telling me all these things. It's like, all right, but Bashar is still charging money. And before people start tagging me, look, I tried for years to give all this stuff away for free. When I spent the years giving it away for free, nobody listened. They all thought that it was garbage and that it must not be worth anything. I had to put the value into myself and realize, oh, well, if I want to save, myself, which is the whole goal, and help other people, which is another big goal, well, then I actually have to put more respect for myself because I actually know the value of what I'm teaching. And I can get that from the perspective of other people. I think Bashar has helped other people. I think a lot of these other groups have helped other people. But the vast majority, it's like, okay, if this is all real, then how come more people can't get on board with a practical model like this? You know what I mean? I'm not trying to shit on any of this. I guess I am. I guess I totally am. And I'm probably, a lot of you guys are going to call me out in the comments. That's okay. But the whole point is, it's a matter of like, for me, it's integrity. It's like, I can't sit here and say this. I can't sit here and say, yeah, you can tap into that 12th dimension. It's like, they don't teach you how to do that, by the way. And I mean, I've got documents where it's like hundreds of pages of these kinds of models and stuff. It's all about inner alchemy and understanding deeper concepts, but they don't actually teach you a lot of the depth of how to do it, how to activate it, how to get across with any of this stuff. It's just not practical. I'm sorry. It's just my whole point is it's not practical. And at the end of the day, this makes people feel bad about themselves because most people are not going to be able to do what this is trying to tell you to do. Most people are not going to be able to reach that 10th, 11th, 12th dimension, whatever it means. And then they're going to want money to teach you that. So really it's like bodily and mind activation, overinflation of the ego, because right, it's like you're special. That's another one of these things that these people do. If you're reading this, then that makes you a supreme fifth dimensional being, an archetype of light and love, a starseed from a different dimension. It's like everybody likes to feel special. Give me a break. And then that forms into isolation, delusion, and then essentially collapse. And there's a number of different groups that do this, by the way. I already mentioned Alice Bailey and the Theosophists. Okay, that's one. The Law of One, the raw material, the raw contact. That's another one that has gotten super, super big. The Summit Lighthouse, that's the violet flame activations. Um, that's another one of these. The Saint Germain series of people. Drunvalo Melchizedek and the Flower of Life teachings. Okay, I've got like a whole list of ones that I've found over the years. The Ekankar, okay, I am. The I am models, there's like cults called I am. The Starseed Ascension peoples. But you break it down, it's Kabbalah, Hermeticism, Taoist, Nadon, and Gnostic Christianity. I mean, that's really the root of what all of this stuff is. Plus aliens, and that's where they get you. That's where they get you, because they've sold you on this idea of aliens. They've sold you on this idea of interdimensional beings and whatever egregores, demonic entities, all that. And yeah, I mean, the egregore aspect of it, the energetic aspect of it, which is probably what a lot of this is talking about, that's all real. And yes, there's different hierarchies, like these dimensions. That's all real. That is true. But it's just the way that they go about it. And the way that they map it, like they're so sure that this is how you can map the whole process. It's like, yeah, there's 12. It's like, okay, I can understand why you would think there's 12, because there's 12 within us, 12 ribs and the 12 cranial nerves and all that. Again, it's not like there's not bad information here, but it always ends with a multi-$1,000 package of going to some retreat in Florida or one of the other beautiful places in the world, because these people get lots of money. And it's really no different from like a Catholic pastor or something, that whatever that one pastor guy is. Anyway, this is a very long-winded video. I hope that you guys enjoy it, and I hope that it wasn't too negative, but we really need to get into the real depth of psychology. We really need to study more of this. We need to break this down, and because we need to understand how to act as people. All right, we don't need to understand how to act as 12th dimensional beings. We need to understand how to act as human beings. And this narcissism is just so rampant. And so I wrote a master's thesis on this. This is actually why I'm passionate about it, because I wrote my master's thesis about this extremely high level concept of just people undergoing massive spiritual psychosis right now. We're all special. We're all unique. We're all loved. Okay. None of this stuff is necessarily even wrong, because I haven't studied it so far to say that it's wrong. But it just feels like it's so scammy and bullshit artisty to me. My gut instinct tells me, like, hey, just keep it simple. Keep it simple. God is simple. It's source. It's unity. So you want to get into unity, you're going to have to align all of these factors. Instead of going to the 12th dimension, be all 12 dimensions. Because otherwise it's just a form of separation and segregation. And honestly, I don't know. To me, it just was a bothersome thing. And also, I just wanted to give that PSA of like, please stop asking me for free stuff, please, because I'm not going to give it to you. I love you guys, but I'm not going to give you free stuff. I tried the free stuff route. I already explained it. So if you're interested, join my online community, Psycosmos University Online. We have a lot of really great stuff that we're uncovering here. We've got a lot of new members. Thank you guys all for joining. And it's very affordable. It's very fun. People are loving it right now. We've got 55 people. It just keeps climbing. And then the other thing I'll say is my AI tool, Astraya, which you can Astraya. There we go. So you can go to astraya.ai and you can read all about the AI model that I created. It goes off of a lot of psychology, the esoteric studies that I delve into. Hey, look, there's that picture. It's a coaching model as well, so it can help you with that. It's extremely private. It does not sell any of your data. And make sure that you're entering your birthday correctly. I had a couple people who were struggling with that, and that's totally okay. Maybe there was an issue. I was trying to figure out if there was an issue with the birthday submission, and if that is the case, then I apologize. But a lot of people are enjoying it. More and more people are signing up. The difference between the pricing tiers is that this one comes with the VIP support as well as the full access to the astrology page. You also get unlimited conversations. You get all the core features, whereas the core, well, I guess maybe I should update that to say all advanced features. Oh, all core features included. Never mind. But this comes with the complete system access. That's what I'm talking about. It comes with basically the deeper model, so you can ask it all the deep questions that you want. Whereas the core is just more for like coaching and like it comes with the daily planner, astrological planning. So yeah, I love you guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.